All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, if you've ever seen any photos from the 1910s, the 1920s, the 1930s, 40s, 50s, etc., if you pay very close attention, you'll notice that the children dress like their parents, meaning what? The young boy would wear slacks and a button-down shirt and maybe even a tie and a blazer, a lot like his father. The young girl would wear a long dress, maybe a bonnet, to mimic her mother. Well, after the 1950s and 1960s, there started to be a paradigm shift in accordance to or correlated with the CIA social engineering of the 1960s that involved LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs. And what started to happen is that adults started to become overly infatuated with youth. America started to embrace youth culture. And thereafter, we've seen the effects of it. Now adults try to dress like children as opposed to children dressing like the adults. Well, this school principal in Texas is trying to do something about that. She has placed a dress code restriction on the parents of many of her students because it's very obvious that she can see some of the same things that I can see. The reason why so many of these children are so confused is because they're not getting any guidance in the home. The reason why they're not getting any guidance in the home is because their parents are more concerned with being peers of theirs as opposed to being guides of theirs. Because the clothes reflect the person. How you dress, your attire, reflects a lot about who you are as a person and what you're concerned with. So anyway, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
Controversy over a new dress code for parents at a Texas high school. If they break the rules, they get kicked off campus. The principal of James Madison High in Houston is banning items like shower caps, hair rollers, pajamas, torn jeans, and uncovered leggings.
In other words, the principal's telling a lot of these hood rat ass parents, look, do not come to my school dressed up like you're in your backyard or like you're in your basement. Dress appropriately to try to convey a certain image for your children and for the other people who are going to see you. You have a responsibility as a parent when it comes to how you depict yourself. So good for her.
During drop-off and pickup, also banned.
I remember when the style of women wearing leggings out in public first started to come into vogue, maybe like 12 or 13 years ago. And me and brothers would always say, you know, soon these bros just going to be coming out of the house butt-ass naked. Because you're trying to reveal everything. Basically, leggings are just tights that are meant to be opaque, meaning not see-through. So what else is there other than for you to just come out of your house butt-ass naked? And supposedly these women do not want to be evaluated based on sex. But once again, whenever the woman is allowed to project her own energy, she always leads with the sexual aspect. Always.
And low-cut tops, sagging pants, and revealing dresses.
Good for you, principal. It's also a great thing to attack a lot of these dudes who want to sag their jeans and advertise their anus. If that's your own sexual preference, that's you. Keep it to yourself. I don't need to see the crack of your ass, man. Pull up your damn pants. When you read the scriptures in Job, the 38th chapter, the Most High states, gird up your loins like a man. You put on a pair of pants, you have a belt on. You have on a pair of sweatpants, you cinch it so that your backside is covered. Nobody wants to see your ass crack. I'm not quite sure why people don't grasp that. If you're going to walk outside with your pants hanging off your ass, that means that there's a lack of respect that you have for others, and you're probably sagging in your daily life. Your pants are a bit of a reflection of your life. If you're probably sagging your pants, you're probably sagging in your life. You're not up to snuff when it comes to how you handle your responsibilities in life.
She said that my headscarf was out of dress code and my...
That's not a headscarf. That's a slave scarf. No disrespect, but you look like you need to be out in someone's plantation with that damn shit on your head. Talking about, master, it's almost ready. The food almost ready. Like, come on, have a little pride. A lot of so-called parents do not understand the importance of the image that they project of themselves when it comes to how the child looks at themselves. There's an epidemic in America today of young children committing suicide, and they're trying to blame the bullies in school. And yes, that is partly to blame. Sometimes it is the bullying that's going on in these schools for why these children are killing themselves. But what's even worse is that when they're getting bullied in school, they're coming home to a parent that has nothing to offer them, nothing to tell them, nothing to inform them about or to empower them with. It's just another person who had a child and has no idea why they had the child. Or maybe they had the child for a nefarious reason, like trying to get money from someone or trying to get someone to stay with them. And now they're stuck with the child because their plot and their plan backfired. It didn't work. And they're not parent material. There are a lot of people out here having children who are not parent material. And if you're someone who's going to go to your child's school with that on your head, I have to wonder about some of the other things that are going on in your mind.
And my dress was too short.
This is a failing school. You have other things to worry about than my attire.
Well, I have news for you, ma'am. If the school is failing, it's probably because the parents are doing as poor a job as you believe the teachers are doing. This notion that certain schools are so bad and so poor, brothers, at the end of the day, all of these institutions are Saturnian. When you send a child to a school, you already know what they're going to learn. It's your job to be as invested in the education of your child as the teachers are. You have to make sure that you're informed about what your child is learning and how well they're grasping what they're learning. And these children are coming from convoluted, confusion-filled environments, and they're bringing that same mentality into the school system. They're bringing a lot of confusion into these schools. The teachers don't know how to handle it. The children are failing, and then the parents want to blame the school as opposed to blaming their own confused environment. Once again, so-called black man, the solution is within us. It's not about blaming the schools or blaming the so-called white man, so on and so forth. Of course, they do what they do to try to take our people off of the path that we need to be on in order to improve. But once we're cognizant of that, that means that we have to try to avoid those little silly stumbling blocks. And a lot of what goes on in the school system is based on people who don't want to learn. A lot of our people are scared to learn because then it's going to put pressure on our people to become successful. And as long as we don't try to put our best foot forward to learn things, then we could say to ourselves, well, I never knew it. Well, you had the chance to learn it, you just did not want to learn. And everyone knows that in the so-called black community, intelligent children are castigated by those around them. The brightest lights within the so-called black community are often dimmed by the people who should be trying to push them forward towards some type of success or greatness.
The principal, Carlotta Otley Brown, also implemented a parental dress code at her previous school, which won a National Blue Ribbon award, that is, from the U.S. Education Department.
Well, good for you, ma'am. I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. You also seem to have on a bit of a V-neck, so maybe you want to tighten that up a bit. It reminds me of that film Lean On Me, starring Morgan Freeman, where, remember, the main antagonist of Morgan Freeman in that film was the so-called liberal black woman. Remember that? Played by that trout mouth black woman, that black actress that's always in those movies with that trout mouth trying to antagonize everyone. She's great as an antagonist. And they were just letting you know that when you're a so-called black man or even a so-called black woman who's trying to restore some type of order, our own people are always going to come against us because of what? They love confusion. A lot of our people love confusion because it allows them to feel like less of a failure. So we have to come against that notion and against that energy. But anyway, that's basically it on that. Peace.